Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do.
Hello there and welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of Weavey Web Revived. I am your host, Tor James Faulkner. If you don't know who I am, if this happens to be the first episode that you were listening to, I am a psychic among many other things, and the kind of point of Weave Your Web is to give you hints and tips in how to create your own reality, also to give you some education about the spiritual, paranormal, etc., and to share some psychic news stories as well as some free psychic readings. I'm going to be doing all of that on this episode. But wasn't the last episode absolutely lovely? If you haven't listened to it yet, pause this one, go back an episode and listen to episode 3 of season 3. It was so lovely to have Inbal back on, friend to the show, practically a co-host at this point. It was so lovely to have her back on the show. We had a really brilliant talk about affirmations. It was, I really enjoyed having her on. It was such a good time, and I look forward to doing it again. First on the agenda for this episode, I'm going to be reading you an article, another one that I wrote. I don't know that this was ever published anywhere. I don't know that this one actually came out. So I can't credit anywhere as having published it because I'm really not sure that they did. But it kind of brings us back to the original premise of Weave Your Web. This article is about the basics of law of attraction. And I must have written this about 5 years ago, maybe more. So we'll see. We'll experience it together because I've not read it since then. And this is a good time to mention that the stories and the articles that are featured on the show, 9 times out of 10, I'm experiencing them along with you because I want my reactions to be natural, the same way that you're maybe hearing the articles or the stories for the first time, and maybe we're reacting the same way or maybe we're reacting completely differently. But I want it to all be natural and kind of in real time. So anyway, this article is simply called Law of Attraction, The Basics. And it reads, Law of attraction is a term that you've probably heard more and more of in the past 5 or 6 years. Maybe a few more years by now. Sensationalized in New Age works as a tool to manifest what you want. While the law of attraction can be utilized to create the life you desire, it's not quite as simple as buying a hammer. I don't know. I don't know why I've written it's not quite as simple as buying a hammer, but I like it. Law of attraction is a primal force, something that is always in effect. It's not something that can be switched on or off. And this is so important. I'm going to read that line again because I think a lot of people don't realize this. I think they think it's a bit like something that you have to switch on, something that you have to activate, and it's not. So I'm going to read this line again because it's probably the most important line in the whole thing. Law of attraction is a primal force, something that is always in effect. It's not something that can be switched on or off, and it's not really something that one can do, therefore debunking a lot of the New Age literature which suggests otherwise. And I kind of touched on this a little bit last week, that a lot of New Age stuff with affirmations and with law of attraction, they kind of try and like commandeer it in some way, and they add complications to it and rules to it and dogma to affirmations and law of attraction that simply don't belong there. They simply don't belong there. I had pointed out in the previous episode that affirmations you can do whenever and however you like, and that law of attraction boils down very, very simply to like attracts like. It continues. It is responsible for everything in your life, every circumstance, every situation, everything you own, good and bad, big and small. Think of gravity for a moment. We all know what gravity is. We all know it's an effect, and we don't really question it. Generally speaking, we don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, better switch my gravity on so I don't bump my head on the ceiling. We just accept the fact that gravity is in play and that our feet will always stay on the ground. Now, accept that the law of attraction is always in play in the same way. Accept that your thoughts are responsible for your life. It's a little hard to swallow at first, isn't it? But the truth is, everything starts with a thought, and thoughts become things and situations. Don't believe me? Try this little exercise. Pick an object, let's say purple flowers. Unless you're allergic to purple flowers, then pick something else. Pick something else. Keep in your mind for a week the image of purple flowers. Think about purple flowers as much as possible and keep saying purple flowers to yourself. You will notice purple flowers increasingly popping up around you. And that's not to say that they're going to come, start sprouting out of the ground on your kitchen floor or whatever. What that means is when you're out and about, you'll see more purple flowers in people's gardens. Maybe you're scrolling on the social medias and you'll see more pictures of purple flowers. Maybe someone will tell you that somebody brought them some purple flowers as a present. Stuff like that. It doesn't mean that they're going to start, coming out the walls, Just to make that very, very clear. Like attracts like. And that's why some of us who find ourselves in negative situations can find it hard to claw our way out of that negative cycle, while some people have consistently positive and abundant lives. Often we have to change our whole mindset and do a lot of cognitive work before we start to attract the things that we want and deserve. Simply reading a book won't change your life, but it is doable with time and effect. Effort. What? Okay. Okay. Let's just try it again. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. If you say it's a practice, it doesn't count. And that was a practice. Simply reading a book won't change your life, but it is doable with time and effort. A qualified law of attraction coach like myself can give you helpful techniques and work with you through changing your cognitive patterns, but self-study and really taking the time to make changes in how you think is just as, if not more, valuable. So that was just a little outline of the basics of the law of attraction. And really, like I'd said last week, it all boils down to those three words: like attracts like. And I'm going to read the little exercise again. Try this little exercise. Pick an object, let's say purple flowers. Keep in your mind for a week the image of purple flowers. Think about purple flowers as much as possible and keep saying purple flowers to yourself. You will notice purple flowers increasingly popping up around you. And this is a really, really good exercise to start manifesting the things that you want. And it's a really good way to establish a baseline for yourself in manifesting. And, like I said earlier, purple flowers might not work for you. You might be allergic to purple flowers. You might not want purple flowers around you. Think of something else. Pick something else. I originally did this exercise with trash bags, bin bags. I don't remember why. I just remember thinking, well, that's something that I always need. Let's manifest that. And my whole house was inundated with different types of trash bags, different types of bin bags, there was scented ones appearing, there was clear ones coming through the door from, I don't know, the local authorities or something. Members of the family were going shopping and bringing back huge packs of, of bin bags. For ages and ages, this was the case. And actually, if I'm being honest, it never really died down. Every time I go through the house, there seems to be a new pack of bin bags. So, yeah, try that little exercise. Let me know how you got on. I would absolutely love to hear some experiences with that. You can try that along with the affirmations that we were talking about in the previous episode too. And like I said in the previous episode, and this was partly why I wanted to bring the basics of law of attraction back round, for those of you who might not know, and just as a refresher for those of us who do know, was because I was saying last week, how affirmations are a really good positive law of attraction technique, because we're repeating a positive phrase to ourselves, often about ourselves. And I think that that's a really good step in changing our cognitive patterns. So let me know how you got on. Do your affirmation. And if you need help finding an affirmation for yourself, reach out to me. I'll help you out. And then practice this law of attraction technique and let me know how you get on. We're going to delve into a psychic news story now. And it is about haunted dolls. I don't believe that it's the same haunted doll that we've covered before. We did have that haunted doll who kept popping back up in different stories, didn't we? I don't believe it's the same one. I hope not. Actually, I kind of hope that it is. Because I kind of like the idea that particular haunted doll keeps popping up. But at the same time, I hope not. Because it would be nice to hear about other haunted dolls. So this is from the Daily Star. The Daily Star in the UK. And the headline reads, "Psychic attacked by Yob haunted doll." I don't know if I'm going to get through this article without falling into hysterics. I haven't even got through the headline. Let's try again. Psychic attacked by Yob haunted doll who scratched her before they made up. Exclusive. Psychic Hannah Rose, hello Hannah, has a collection of haunted dolls and loves them all, despite being physically attacked by one, particularly violent, named Louise. Hello Louise too. And this article is by Ben Rudd and Abigail Hunt for the Daily Star. And it reads, "A psychic woman says she loves her collection of haunted dolls, despite them physically attacking her and hiding her keys. Hannah Rose, 20, says she saw a ghost aged 7 and has since been obsessed with the paranormal. Me too. I'm obsessed with the paranormal. She has since amassed 13 dolls, which she says can sometimes wreak havoc, with one of them called Louise scratching her arm." That's scary. Another she calls Mildred hides her belongings around the house. Hannah said, "I have been scratched by Louise, but we made up after a communication session." Activity really fluctuates. It's supposed to read activity, but they've put actively. Activity really fluctuates. Sometimes they can be so quiet, and other times they wreak havoc. Mildred in particular likes to hide important things, like my house keys or makeup. Oh, it's not the same doll, but there's a beautiful picture. There's a beautiful picture of the doll, and she really is a lovely, lovely doll. Does it say which one? Does it say which doll this is? I'm not sure if this is Louise or Mildred. It doesn't say, but she's beautiful. "I definitely intend to keep all of them as long as I live and collect more. I really believe these spirits are deserving of understanding and homes." You know what, Hannah? That's a really nice sentiment. And I feel as though this is what I was born to do as a psychic medium. When Hannah was just 7 years old, she encountered her very first paranormal experience, seeing her very first ghost, and she hasn't stopped seeing them since. And then there's a picture of the scratch on her arm. As a teen, she then found out her mum can also see spirits, and now believes that the gift of sight could be genetic. She then started to learn about haunted items and began finding out about haunted dolls, and it didn't take long for her to realise her new calling. After purchasing her first haunted doll, Catherine, from eBay, she decided that she wanted to try and help as many of them as possible. She does that by cleaning them up, giving them someone to talk to via her specialised paranormal equipment, and just generally making sure they are okay. Hannah said, I didn't find it that scary, to be honest, to be scratched. I've always kind of been indifferent to things like that. I would be more frightened if she had hurt my family or my pets, but she never has. And that's the end of the article. I actually, that was not the way that I thought the article was going to go. I actually really like that. I really like that she feels connected to these dolls, that she feels she, is to use her psychic gift to help these dolls and to give these spirits, a home. And she talks to them through equipment. So she's not just speaking to them. She's got equipment set up. It doesn't say exactly what equipment, but I assume it's, the proper equipment where you hear things through, and, it's a real voice, and, she's clearly done her research and knows what she's talking about. I really, really like that. Hannah seems like a really, really nice young lady. And the doll pictured, like I say, it didn't... Oh, there's other dolls pictured too. The dolls pictured are beautiful. I don't know who's who. I'm assuming the doll pictured on her own is Louise, though. Because she was kind of the main star of the story. She's beautiful. Look at those big, beautiful eyes. We're going to take a break. And hopefully I'll be able to speak properly after the break. And we're going to have a paranormal experience, and I'm going to be answering some of your questions. See you in a moment.
I don't like rain or snow or hail, or Moby Dick, that great white whale, but I love onions. I don't like shoes that pinch your toes, or people who squirt you with a garden hose, but I love onions. Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do. Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do.
Welcome back to Weave Your Web, Season 3, Episode 4. I'm still your host, Tor, and now it's time for the paranormal encounter. The headline for this paranormal encounter is Encounter with a Faceless Ghost Near a Haunted Railway Track. Need answers or similar experiences? And it reads, I'm definitely sure that the paranormal exists after my experience. There's an old railway track about 300 metres from my house. It's still active, and growing up, a lot of neighbours and I witnessed several people being hit by trains. That's awful. That's absolutely awful. When I was 18, I came home late from a party around 2 a.m. My house is at the corner, and from there you can see a street light, and then just darkness, as that's where the track is. I had come home late many times before, but nothing had ever happened. As usual, I parked my two-wheeler and opened the main gate to bring it inside. To my surprise, I saw a faceless lady in full white clothing. I tried to focus on her face, but I couldn't see it. She was standing near the street light about 100 meters away. I panicked and quickly moved my vehicle inside. When I turned to lock the gate, she was only 10 meters away. No. She was only 10 meters away, still faceless. Her figure was plain white and wavering in front of me. I ran inside in a sweat and woke my dad, who told me to pee and sprinkle some on my head to make myself unpure. What? Am I reading that properly? Okay. I'm gonna try reading that again because I'm not sure if I read that right. I ran inside in a sweat and woke my dad, who told me to pee and sprinkled some on my head to make myself unpure. Okay. I was so scared I actually wet my pants. Oh, I'm sorry you wet your pants. I had a high fever for the next 4 days before things went back to normal. I'm 100% certain that what I saw wasn't human. I saw a ghost, floating inches above the ground. I'll never forget that faceless figure. I've researched a lot but haven't found much. Can anyone explain or share similar experiences? I'd really appreciate it. P.S. I know it was female because of her body structure. So, have you had a similar experience to this, and what do we think about this story? And can someone please explain to me about sprinkling pee on one's head? I'd really love an explanation for that. But I believe this story to be true. I believe this story to be real. I think that, this is very likely something that happened. It's in, it would be kind of like a paranormal hotspot if lots of people are very unfortunately being hit by trains. And some of those people may be in kind of distress when they're hit by a train and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's probably a paranormal hotspot. I think that this was probably absolutely real. And sometimes, I've recently heard and recently seen people talking about experiencing faceless spirits, and it's not always a scary thing. Like, it's not always, I don't want to say bad spirit, but it's not always a bad spirit. It's not always someone who means to cause harm. Sometimes it's just that that's the best that they can do with bringing themselves through. Sometimes that's the best that the person experiencing them can see. And often it's a family member or just, someone passing through, and it's just, don't be, I know it's very easy for me to say, but if you have an experience like that, or if you're the person who wrote this encounter and you're listening to this, first of all, please explain the pee thing. If you are the person who experienced this, please explain that. But faceless doesn't mean bad, okay? Faceless doesn't mean scary. Faceless doesn't mean harm. So if anybody does experience a faceless apparition, ghost, spirits, it doesn't necessarily mean harm at all. I'm sorry that it made you so ill after the experience. I understand, that can happen too. let me know your thoughts. Let me know all your thoughts about this. I'd love to hear from you with your thoughts about this. I would also love to hear your paranormal experiences. So if you've got a paranormal experience that you would like to share with the show, please go to www.torjamesfaulkner.com. If I said that too quickly, the contact information will be in and around wherever you're listening to this. Use the contact form. Let me know that it's for the show. Put your paranormal experience, or you can also ask a free psychic question to be answered on the show. And what I always like to say with those is, don't send one that's too urgent, because there is no set schedule for the show. So don't send one that's too urgent, okay? But it is a really nice way for you to have, you know, a free mini reading. And it's a nice way for me to interact with you. And I've got a bunch to get through for this episode. So thank you so much for them. And our first one is from G. So you don't even have to put your full name. You can tell me that you want to be anonymous. All of that, right? You don't have to have your name or anything on the show. So this person, in fact, most people just send in an initial, actually. This person has done that. It's G. And G asks, will my husband come back? And as I was shuffling the cards there, and apologies because the shuffling sound down the microphone is very bothersome, we have the card of celebration. It flipped out of the pack. It's times like this I wish this was a video podcast. It flipped out of the pack. So you've got the card of celebration there, and this tells us a very, very strong yes. And I feel it. I feel your husband's coming back. I feel like he comes and goes, unfortunately. Okay, so he'll come back and everything will be lovely, and everything will be lovely for a few months. But then what we have here is a repeated pattern. Obviously, I'm not a mental health professional, but I feel like husband probably needs to go and speak to some kind of psychiatrist, some kind of counsellor. Okay, that's very much coming up very, very clearly here. So that might be something that he needs to explore. It might be something that he needs to go and explore on his own. And then we have him coming back again. And when he comes back again, that's the forever time. That's the time he comes back forever. He stays, doesn't go after that. And it's like a brand new start. He feels like he has completely fresh energy. And you're looking at this from, what are we on now? We're not quite mid-October, so it's just at the end of the first week of October 2024 at the time of recording. And I feel like by this time next year, by October next year, all of this will have happened. All of this will have happened. So he'll have come back, he'll have gone, he'll have come back, and you'll be actually maybe getting a new house together by that time. New house by November next year. Keep that in mind. I hope that was helpful for you, G, and it's always nice to pass on some good news. It was good news with a bit of a twist, but it's always really nice to pass on some good news in any case. And then our second question is from N, and says that they are a female. Good to know. Will there be marriage between me and Z? Let's have a look for you. And again, let me apologise for the card shuffling. Will there be marriage between N and Z? Let's have a look. Ooh. Absolutely. We have a big, big yes. We have the proposal coming up here. And I'm hearing July screamed at me in my psychic hearing. It won't be before then. So there'll be nothing before that point. You're not going to get a surprise proposal at Christmas. You're not going to get a surprise proposal at New Year or Valentine's. I'm super sorry. I get the feeling like maybe you've been waiting for this for a while, and you know, it would have been nice to have like a kind of surprise on one of the big holidays. But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is next July. It won't happen before then. It might not even happen exactly in July, but that's the earliest that it could happen. And I feel like what Z wants to do with this and why it's not on a special holiday is because they want to make a holiday out of it, right? So they want that date to be unique to this thing, to this proposal. I shouldn't call it a thing. They want to make that date unique to the proposal so that even though you'll have your wedding anniversary when you eventually get married and you have other anniversaries and all the ins and outs, they want the engagement day to be a thing that you celebrate every single year. And so they want that to be further enough from any birthday, from any, holiday, from anything like that. They want it to be far enough away from that it's completely celebrated in its own right. And that's not exactly what you asked, but that's what came through. So I hope that was helpful for you, N female. And we have Tugba. Hey Tugba, asking, will I progress in my career? Let's find out. Will Tugba progress in their career? Ooh. Shuffling away. Yes. It's a yes with a twist. Okay. So we have a big yes. You will progress in your career. That part's not debatable. That part's absolutely not debatable. You will progress in your career. You have the talent, you have the skill, you have the knowledge, you have the get up and go. You want to progress in this career. You are suited to this career. It's your life purpose. It's everything about it is you to a T. It's like if a career would be a soulmate or anything like that. You guys know I don't use that word lightly. This is it. And if all you could do for the rest of your life is this career, is to work, you would be so happy. And I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm just saying that if that was all you were ever able to do, you would be so happy. But here's the twist. Here's the big but. And I hate to give you a big but here's the big but. It's not going to happen if you stay where you are, okay? The building that you're in, the people that you're around, the boss, maybe, has a very, very toxic aura, right? It's very, very toxic. It's very, very, like, they're showing me chains. The people that you're around at the moment at work, that building that you're in, is deliberately holding everybody down and making people feel like they have to stay there. You don't. You don't have to stay there. You shouldn't stay there. Your workmates shouldn't stay there. You should all do a mass walkout, give them the finger and never look back. Obviously that's not very practical, but that's what you should do. So what I would suggest, what's coming through for you, is to find an almost identical job, to find the job the same somewhere else, the exact same job somewhere else. And it won't even take you that long to do that. It won't be very, very difficult to find the same job somewhere else identical. You could probably be in a completely, if you were to start now, you could probably be in a completely new building with completely new people by December. Like, and I don't mean the end of December, I mean like you'd be starting on like the 1st of December. Because you are so talented and you do have such a good reputation. So once that happens, once you get out of that specific building, you will be flying. You'll be flying sky high with that career. But it won't happen where you are at the moment. So I'm sorry for the big but it is a big yes also. Okay? And next up we have really thank you for trusting me with this question. So Lena has sent in a question, and what she says is, was Daniel attracted to me on our first date? We had the first date, and then he told me that he didn't want to see me again, and he's blocked me. But he was flirty, and he seemed like he was having a good time. So was he attracted to me? Is it an excuse? Is he pursuing somebody else? Thank you so much for trusting me with this, Lena. I realised that this was a very, very hard situation for you to be going through. And I think it's something that a lot of people, if not everybody, can unfortunately relate to, particularly in this day and age of, smartphones and dating apps and being able to just like hit a block button and then that person is out of our life, right? But let's find out what was going on. Let's take a couple of cards to help me tune into the information. Poor Lena. And this would be a good point as well for me to point out the fact that I don't go into all the cards individually, because the cards are for my benefit. The cards are for me to pinpoint the information quicker. Okay? I'm not one of those readers who's like, I'll show you the cards and I'll talk about bits and pieces of the cards if it's a video reading or like a phone reading or whatever. But in terms of like saying this card means this card means that, I'm not that type of reader. The cards, like I say, they're for me to pinpoint and to hook the information that you're looking for much quicker. They're for my benefit. I like to think of the cards as being like psychic text messages. Anyway. Okay, what we have here actually is someone who was being honest with you. We have someone who was being honest with you in what they said. Which means, okay, and bear with me here, it means that they were honest with you on the first date. So if they were being flirty and interested on the first date, the only date, I'm presuming, that was honest. Okay? When they were telling you afterward that they didn't want to see you anymore, that they weren't interested, that was honest. I feel like this person has a pattern. This Daniel has a pattern of chasing after people very, very quickly and acting interested, acting flirty, buying the flowers, pulling the chair out, acting like the most perfect gentleman, and then dropping the person who they've done that to. It's a pattern with them, and it's not about you. It's not about you. So I know it's a bit of a hard pill to swallow, but when they've said what they've said to you before unfortunately blocking you, even though they acted a certain way on the date, both of these were honest. Both of these were part of who this person is. Now, I feel like they do this not only sometimes like after 1 or 2 dates, but also sometimes like 5-6 months into a relationship, which is a chunk of time, but it's also still relatively early on. So they don't really see relationships through. They don't get into a relationship and have a relationship for like 5 years, or more, you know. They just move through people very, very quickly, very, very quickly. And like I say, it's a pattern with them. It's not about you, Lena. I think it was really good to get some reassurance about this, because it seemed like they flipped, and in a way they did. But also I feel like it's good that you weren't in a situation where it was months or years. You know, you were in a situation where it was one date, and now you can just kind of move on. And there is somebody coming in for you before the end of the year. 7 weeks, 8 weeks. Fire sign, who is much more suited and can give you the happy ending that you're looking for, Lena. All right. Thank you so much for that question. It was a very delicate question, and I really appreciate you trusting me with that. And I'm sending you lots of love. I'm sending everybody who has sent in a question lots of love. And again, if you'd like to send in a question to the show, your paranormal experience, your spooky stories, anything like that, get in touch. The information will be in and around where you're listening to this. I don't know why I'm doing this finger thing, because you can't see me. It's an audio show. It's an audio show. Okay, let's finish up with an angel card. So the angel card it's a general energy thing. It's for anybody who might be listening, just to give you a little bit of guidance, a little pat on the bum, to help you on your way. If it doesn't fit, if you feel like it's a load of nonsense and it has nothing to do with you, then listen, boo. It's not for you. Don't take it and squeeze it into your life, okay? Only take the bit of guidance if it makes sense to you. So let's give the angel cards a good shuffle. I forgot to get my angel number cards for this episode. Let me just have the general angel cards. I really hate how the card shuffling sounds down the microphone. Really hate it. Not that one. Let's see. I feel like we've had this card before on the show, and relatively recently as well. Okay, interesting. I've taken 3, because the first one that's come up is Miracle, and I feel like we had that relatively recently on the show, where something amazing is going to happen. Something really, really good that we've been waiting for is going to come in. It's going to come in. I feel like for some people it's going to come in by way of post. Okay, I'm seeing physical, like snail mail letters, physical paper letters coming in that people are reading and going, oh my goodness, thank goodness this has happened. Thank goodness this has finally come about. Thank goodness we've finally got this. That kind of thing. So that's really, really good. And with that, we have the evolution card. Okay, and it really feels like a lot of people who are listening will be moving up a little step in their life, right? You know, maybe like with Tugboat, you're going to be climbing the career ladder, or your relationship might be going to the next level. Some people it's going to be a little bit of a spiritual awakening. I feel like there's a lot of spiritual awakening going on at the moment, and I feel like that's going to really, really heat up around November. As I'm saying that, my hands are getting really, really hot. So for some people, that's going to be like a healing course you might be starting or finishing, or so it's different things for different people. Some people might be starting to learn tarot, and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of, I feel like, physical evolutionary things going on in terms of like material life, jobs, you know, relationships, boyfriends becoming husbands, that kind of thing, but also spiritual. So you might be learning like a spiritual skill, or just generally, you know, waking up your spiritual and intuitive abilities. Learning to manifest is being yelled at me. So perhaps you've even learned from the little bit of information on the show earlier. But then, interestingly, and this is why I did 3, we have the Justice card. We have the Justice card coming up at the end here. So something that has been needing to be put right will be put right within the next little while. I'm going to say that this is kind of, you know, for like the next couple of months, because people will listen to this at different times. But also, whenever you happen to be hearing this, and if it feels relevant, it's relevant, okay? But I feel like before the end of this year, probably before December, something that has been needing to be put right will be put right. People who are not in their place, people who don't know their place, who have been, I'm just gonna say what I'm getting, who have been abusive, who have been horrible, who have been nasty, they're gonna be put in their place. The nastiness is gonna stop. Justice is gonna be served. And I think I'll leave that there. I think that's a really powerful way to end the show and to end the general energy reading. And if that does make sense, get in touch. Let me know what the amazing thing that came in the post was. I hope that you've had as much fun, as much of a nice time listening to this episode as I have, recording it. I'll see you next time. Go power.
The onion is a tuberous vegetable and is a member of the genus Stinkers delicioso. It was highly prized by the ancient Egyptian pharaohs and their friends and cousins. They cause watering of the eyes and rubefaction of the skin, but it is very, very delicious. Onions, onions, la la